Fade in on the vast, smoke-choked skies over the Pacific, where the thunder of engines echoes like the gods of war clashing in fury. It's early 1945, and the tide of World War II has turned against the empire of the rising sun. From the frozen Aleutians to the sweltering jungles of New Guinea, Japanese pilots, once untouchable aces who danced through the clouds like cherry blossoms in a storm, now face a relentless enemy. Their nimble Zeros, kings of the early war, are outpaced by America's growing arsenal. But nothing prepares them for the sleek predator that will soon slice through their illusions, the North American P-51 Mustang. Imagine it, a long, laminar flow wing cutting the air like a samurai's katana, powered by a British-born Hart, the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, license-built by Packard in Detroit's Humming factories. This isn't just a fighter, it's a long-range escort, born from the desperate pleas of RAF Bomber Command in 1940, when their Lancasters bled over Germany without protection. North American Aviation, under the visionary Edgar Schmood, delivered the NA-73X prototype in 72 days, a record that stunned even the skeptics. By 1944, the P-51D variant, with its bubble canopy and 6.50 caliber Brownings, was rewriting the rules of aerial combat. Top speed, 440 miles per hour at 25,000 feet. Range? Over 1,600 miles with drop tanks. But it's the climb rate that will etch fear into Japanese hearts. 3,475 feet per minute stock, pushing 4,000 in optimal bursts. A vertical sprint that turns defense into dominance. Our story begins not in a dogfight, but in the shadowed corners of China, where the war's fringes flicker like dying embers. January 16, 1945. At Sushin Airfield, near the Yellow River's muddy banks, a routine reconnaissance mission goes awry for the 26th Fighter Squadron of the 14th Air Force. First Lieutenant Oliver E. Strawbridge, a lanky Texan with a penchant for jazz records and a sweetheart back home named Evelina, lifts off in his P-51C-11NT, serial number 42102871. Nose art, a voluptuous pinup dubbed Evelina, cigarette in hand, winking at the sky. Strawbridge's mission, scout Japanese positions amid the chaos of Chiang Kai-shek's crumbling lines. But fate intervenes. Engine trouble, perhaps a fouled spark plug or fuel contamination, forces Strawbridge down behind enemy lines. He belly lands in a rice paddy, the Mustang's belly scraping earth as bullets whistle past. Strawbridge scrambles out, radio smashed, and vanishes into the underbrush, evading capture by sheer grit. Word reaches his squadron days later. Missing in action. But Evelina? She's intact. A prize, gleaming under the winter sun. Japanese ground crews, scavenging like crows, tow her to a forward base. Whispers spread through the Imperial Japanese Army Air Force. An American wonder has fallen into their hands. News of the capture races up the chain of command. In Nanjing, General Shunroku Hata, commander of the China Expeditionary Army, orders the bird secured. It's crated, disassembled wing by wing, and shipped 1,200 miles east to Tachiarai Naval Air Base in Fukuoka Prefecture, a fortress of flight testing on Kyushu's rainy plains. There, under the watchful eye of the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Technical Arsenal, engineers pore over the prize. They marvel at the airframe, seamless aluminum skin, devoid of the rivet rash plaguing their own rushed productions. The Merlin V-12 with its two-stage supercharger hums to life on the first try. No oil leaks, no vibration harmonics, just pure, throaty power at 1,490 horsepower on 100-octane avgas. But theory is one thing. Flight is revelation. Enter Captain Yasuhiko Kuroe, a 32-year-old ace with 30 confirmed kills, his face scarred from a Zero's cockpit fire over Guadalcanal. Kuroe, known as the Black Panther for his nocturnal raids, has tangled with Hellcats and Lightnings, but the Mustang is a ghost in his ledger. Selected for the test flight, he climbs into the cockpit on a crisp February morning. Ground crew chief, Petty Officer Hiroshi Tanaka, a wiry mechanic from Osaka, repaints the wings with crimson Hinomaru sun discs, an ironic baptism. Kuroe straps in, the armored seatback cradling him like a throne. The instrument panel glows, altimeter, airspeed, turn and bank. Ergonomics alien to the Spartan gauges of a Hayabusa. "Clear!" shouts Tanaka. The Merlin coughs, then roars, a deep, liquid growl that rattles the hangar doors. Kuroe advances the throttle, taxiing down the pitted runway scarred by American raids. At rotation speed, 120 knots, the Mustang leaps skyward, lighter than a K-43 Oscar despite its size. He banks left over the East China Sea, salt spray glinting below, and pulls back on the stick. The climb begins. It's immediate, visceral. The needle spins, 500 feet, 1,000, 2,000 per minute. Kuroe, veteran of 1,000 ascents, feels the surge. No buffeting at the edges, no compressor stall warnings. The supercharger bites in at 15,000 feet. Two-stage magic unleashing untapped fury. By 5,000 feet, he's hitting 3,800 feet per minute, the horizon tilting as Mount Aso's volcanic cone shrinks astern. "Bakana," he mutters into the radio. "Insane! This isn't climbing, it's conquest!" The P-51 devours altitude like a falcon on thermals, leaving Kuroe's stomach in freefall. Leveling at 20,000 feet, he tests the turn. A gentle 3G bank, and the wing loads perfectly. No adverse yaw, the ailerons crisp as fresh silk. He rolls inverted, dives to 300 miles per hour. Compressibility? Non-existent. The dive brakes deploy without shudder, recovery a whisper of rudder. But it's the energy state that haunts him. In a zoom climb, the Mustang retains speed where Japanese fighters bleed it away. He imagines a dogfight. A Zero latches on, but one hard pull and the Mustang is above, guns tracking from the perch. Back on the tarmac after 45 minutes, Kuroe deplanes, face pale, eyes wide. To Tanaka and the assembled officers, he declares, "This machine, it flies like a dream forged in hell. The climb, it's not of this world. 4,000 feet a minute, sustained without protest. Our boys in the Oscars? They'd be sitting ducks." Laughter ripples, nervous, disbelieving. But Kuroe is no alarmist. He's seen the future, and it's painted olive drab. Word spreads like shrapnel. The Mustang, now dubbed Rufu 01 in logs, is crated again, bound for the Army Air Inspection Center at Fusa, near Tokyo. There, under Colonel Saburo Sakai's skeptical gaze, another ace, blinded in one eye over Guadalcanal, Sakai gathers a team, test pilots, aerodynamicists, even a captured American POW for insights. They rebuild Evelina in Hangar 7, a cavern of blueprints and blowtorches, while B-29s drone overhead, omens of doom. As winter thaws into a bloody spring, the tests unfold. Comparative flights pit the Mustang against the K-84 Hayate, Japan's late-war hope, a 400-mile-per-hour interceptor with a liquid-cooled Ha-45 engine. But where the Hayate stalls at 18,000 feet, the Merlin laughs. Climb trials? From sea level, full power, 30 degrees nose up. The P-51 surges to 10,000 feet in 3 minutes flat, the Hayate trailing by 45 seconds. Kuroe, logging notes, scribbles, vertical velocity defies physics. Energy retention in maneuvers, superior. This explains the losses over Taiwan. Yet, beneath the awe, a shadow looms. Engineers crack open the cowling, wiring color-coded like a Tokyo subway map, tolerances held to microns amid America's cornucopia of steel. Packard alone spits out 50,000 Merlins a year. Japan, scraping 60,000 engines total since Pearl Harbor. The report, stamped eyes only, warns, enemy's edge is not bravery, but the forge. High command buries it, but the pilots know. In cockpits from Rabaul to Okinawa, whispers of the American devil grow. And so, as cherry blossoms fall on Tachiarai's runways, Evelina sits grounded, Not by sabotage, but a failed generator. No spares in sight. Her silence mocks the Empire's hubris, but her flights have sown doubt, a crack in the divine wind. The aces, once gods, now grapple with mortality, staring at skies where Mustangs prowl unseen. The war machine grinds on, but the Mustang's ghost haunts every briefing, every takeoff. What secrets did she whisper? What fears did she awaken? Hold that thought as we dive deeper into the heart of the tests. The spring of 1945 blooms blood red over Tokyo, where the scent of charred cedar drifts from nightly B-29 raids. At Fusa's Army Air Inspection Center, Hangar 7 stands like a cathedral of steel and secrets, its corrugated roof rattling under distant flak bursts. Inside, Evelina, Rufu 01 to the Japanese, sits chained to the concrete, her silver skin dulled by floodlights that never sleep. Colonel Saburo Sakai, one eye milky from a Grumman bullet, circles the Mustang like a hawk measuring prey. His prosthetic patch gleams black against sun-leathered skin. Around him, a dozen pilots, aces all, wait in silence, their flight jackets patched with rising suns, now frayed at the edges. Sakai's voice cuts the air. We do not worship the enemy, we dissect him. He nods to Major Tetsuzo Iwamoto, 200-plus kills, the Rabao Reaper, whose hands still tremble from malaria. Iwamoto will fly second. Then Lieutenant Hiroyoshi Nishizawa, Ghost Pale, 87 victories, rumored to duel American pilots in dreams. The roster reads like a roll call of the damned. Men who once carved constellations in the sky, now reduced to scavengers of a single captured bird. The first comparative trial begins at dawn, April 12. Two fighters taxi to Fusa's cracked runway, Evelina and a K-84 Hayate, serial 5673, fresh from Nakajima's Oda plant. The Hayate, Japan's sharpest blade, gleams with green camouflage, its Ha-45 engine spitting blue exhaust. Pilot, Captain Tomajiro Ogawa, 42 kills, a smile like a shark. Ground crews wave flags, stopwatches click. Both aircraft full military power, water methanol injection armed. A flare arcs skyward. Evelina surges first. The Merlin supercharger howls, a banshee wail that drowns the Hayate's rasp. At 50 feet, the Mustang is already 200 yards ahead, nose high, gear retracting with hydraulic grace. Ogawa curses, shoves his throttle through the gate, but the Hayate wallows, its manual supercharger lagging. By 5,000 feet, the P-51 is a speck. The K-84 claws upward at 3,200 feet per minute, respectable yet humiliated. Iwamoto, watching from the tower, mutters, it climbs like anger given wings. Level at 50,000 feet, ceiling for both, the real test unfolds. Sustained cruise. Evelina loiters at 360 miles per hour indicated, sipping 68 gallons per hour. The Hayate gulps 105. Radiator shutters yawning like a dying fish. Range calculation? Mustang, 1,650 miles with drop tanks. Hayate, 850, before flames lick the tanks. Sakai scribbles in red ink. Endurance is victory. The pilots exchange glances. No one speaks of homeland defense. Next, maneuverability. A mock dogfight, 15,000 feet over Sagami Bay. Rules, no guns, just positioning. Nishizawa in the Mustang, Ogawa in the Hayate. They start co-altitude, 300 knots. Nishizawa rolls inverted, splits S, reappears on Ogawa's 6 in 8 seconds. The Hayate snap rolls left, but the Mustang's laminar wind bites harder. A 4G turn bleeds only 20 knots, where the K-84 loses 50. Nishizawa chandels upward, energy blooming into altitude, then dives, convertible speed to height to speed again.
Ogawa follows, but the Hayate mushes, compressor surging. Radio crackles, Nishizawa's voice, calm as frost. He is below me always, like chasing smoke. Ground analysis follows in Hangar 7's briefing room, walls plastered with graphs. Aerodynamicist Dr. Hideo Itokawa, future father of Japan's space program, projects slide rules across a table. Wing loading, P-51 38 pounds per square foot, K-84 42. Yet the Mustang turns tighter. Secret? Elliptical lift distribution, Meredith effect radiator thrust. He taps a diagram. The Mustang's belly scoop actually pushes the airframe forward at high speed, a 150-pound bonus. Japanese jaws drop. Their radiators drag like anchors. Armament dissection. 6.5 caliber AN M2 Brownings, 1,880 rounds total. Harmonized at 300 yards. The Hayate's two 20mm Ho-5 cannons carry 150 rounds each. Devastating, but 12 seconds of fire. A burst comparison on the range. Mustang stitches a 3-foot group at 500 yards. Hayate scatters 8 feet. Barrels harmonized sloppily under wartime haste. Sakai orders the Mustang's guns bore-sighted to Japanese 7.7 millimeters for a local test, still tighter. Precision is mass times velocity squared, Itokawa whispers. They have both. Night falls, and the hangar glows under blackout curtains. Mechanics strip the Mustang's deli panels, revealing wiring looms thicker than udon, color-coded, labeled in English. Every connector gold-flashed against corrosion. A Packard technician's note, scrawled in grease pencil, torque to 25 foot-pounds, recheck at 50 hours. Japanese engine sees at 30. Spare parts? The Mustang carries a toolkit with 47 pieces. The Hayate's manual lists improvise. Iwamoto runs a finger along the self-sealing fuel tanks, rubber bladders that swell shut around .5 cal holes. Japan's tanks ignite like rice paper. The psychological blow lands hardest during a pilot debrief. Nishizawa, chain-smoking Asahi cigarettes, stares at the floor. In the Zero, we were artists. In this, we are accountants. Every gram, every horsepower calculated before birth. Ogawa slams a fist on the table. Then why do we die? Silence. Outside, air raid sirens wail. Tokyo burns again. The Mustang sits untouched, a silver accusation. Final trial, a zoom climb from 10,000 feet, full throttle, 60-degree pitch. Evelina rockets to 18,042 seconds, apex speed 220 knots, then converts to a hammerhead stall, perfectly controlled. The Hayate peaks at 16,500, mushes, falls wing over in recovery. Cameras capture Booth. The film loops in the briefing room until the projector ball bursts. Sakai shuts it off. Enough. We know what it is. He dictates the report. P-51 superior in climb, speed, range, firepower, survivability. Counter only by numbers or pilot skill. Numbers dwindle, skill erodes under fatigue. The last line, in his own hand. Recommend immediate production of equivalent. Resources unavailable. As May bleeds into June, Evelina flies one last mission. Not combat, but propaganda. Painted with fake IJA markings, it buzzes a POW camp near Yokohama. American pilots staring skyward in disbelief. A grainy photo circulates, the Mustang trailing a banner in English. Your ride home. Morale weapon or cruel joke? The camp commander orders it shot down. No ammunition remains. The Mustang banks away, untouchable. Back at Fusa, the end nears. A B-29 raid on June 22nd scores a direct hit on Hangar 7's roof. Shrapnel peppers Evelina's fuselage, but the airframe holds, aluminum thick as honor. Fire crews save her, yet the Merlin ingests grit. A cylinder head cracks. No spares. Sakai orders her crated for evacuation to Matsudo, but rail lines are bombed daily. On July 3, with Tokyo in flames, he makes the hardest call. Scuttle the prize. Thermite grenades melt the engine. Sledgehammers smash the instruments. The last act, Sakai himself saws off the tail, buries it in a rice field marked only by a cherry tree. Yet the ghost lingers. In cockpits over Okinawa now, Japanese pilots pull harder, climb steeper, chasing a shadow they can name. The Mustang's data, photographed, memorized, fuels desperate designs. The K-100, the K-87, paper tigers too late. When atomic fire erases Hiroshima, the report on Evelina burns with it. But the lesson endures in every survivor's nightmare. A silver arrow ascending at 4,000 feet per minute, unreachable, unforgiving. The war ends, but the climb rate echoes, a metric of industrial might, a requiem for samurai skies. In the rubble, a single page survives, water-stained, bearing Nishizawa's final note. We fought gods with bamboo. They won with mathematics.
August 1945. The empire is a corpse, still twitching. Hiroshima is ash. Nagasaki glows. Yet at Matsuno Army Airfield, north of Tokyo, hidden under camo netting, Evelina's carcass is exhumed from a bomb crater. The tail Sakai buried under the cherry tree is gone, but the fuselage, wings, and shattered Merlin are trucked in under tarp. A new team waits. Captain Minoru Genda, architect of Pearl Harbor, now reduced to salvage. With him, Lieutenant Commander Tadashi Nakajima, engine wizard, and a 19-year-old cadet named Saburo Tanaka, grandson of the Osaka mechanic who first painted Hinomaru on the Mustang. Their orders? Strip every secret before the Americans land. They work by lantern light. Power lines are cut. The Merlin is a cracked skull, but Nakajima lifts a piston. Intact, chrome moly steel, tolerance 0.0002 inch. Japanese pistons warp at 0.005. He whispers, "This is not metal. This is scripture." The two-stage supercharger impeller spins true despite shrapnel gouges. Genda photographs every blade angle with a Leica scavenged from a downed B-29. The film will be smuggled to Mitsubishi in a sake bottle. Wing panels come off next. Inside, spar caps of 75 ST aluminum, heat-treated to 75,000 psi. Japan's best is 50,000. Rivets, flush, countersunk, spaced 1.2 inches, hold without fatigue cracks after 300 combat hours. Tanaka traces a finger along the Meredith duct. Coolant at 110 degrees Celsius exits at 400 miles per hour, generating 180 pounds of thrust. The radiator pushes the plane, he says, voice cracking. Genda nods. We drag the sky. They ride it. Night 2. The cockpit. The seat. Armor plate 0.5 inch thick, curved to deflect 20 millimeters, still bears Strawbridge's bloodstain, dark as ink. The K-14 gyro gun sight is smashed, but the backup ring sight is pristine. Nakajima removes it, weighs it, 12 pounds. Japanese reflector sights, 28. He sketches the lens curvature on rice paper. The throttle quadrant, 4 levers, friction locked, moves like oiled silk. Tanaka sits, imagines 1,490 horses under his palm. I could rule the air, he murmurs. Genda slaps him. You will die in a wooden trainer. Day 3. The drop tanks. 2 75-gallon paper tanks, pressed from resin-impregnated craft, survive intact. Capacity, 900 miles extra. Japan's rubber tanks leak after one mission. Genda orders them filled with water, weighed 620 pounds each. A K-44 Shoki needs 1,100 pounds of wing to lift 300 gallons. The math is merciless. Tanaka calculates 1 Mustang with tanks equals 3 zeros in range. Genda burns the paper. Do not write what cannot be built. August 14. Radio crackles. The Emperor will speak tomorrow. Surrender. The team works faster. The landing gear, hydraulic, self-centering, retracts with 1200 psi. Japanese systems, 600, bleed like wounds. Nakajima removes a strut, measures the chrome thickness 0.004 inch. This gear lands on coral and lives. Tanaka sketches the oleo stroke, 12 inches compression. A Zero's gear snaps at 6. Final prize, the fuel system, self-sealing bladders, 237 gallons internal. A .5 cal hole seals in 8 seconds. Japanese tanks ignite in 3. Genda orders a test, a bayonet stab into the port wing tank. Rubber swells, closes, no leak. Tanaka laughs, manic, broken. We patch with rice glue. Genda pockets a bladder sample, for the future. August 15, Hirohito's voice, thin as paper, announces surrender. Outside Matsudo, civilians wail. Inside, the team loads secrets into a truck, supercharger blueprints, wing spar samples, the K-14 lens, a single self-sealing bladder. Destination, Nagoya to Dr. Jiro Horikoshi, designer of the Zero. Genda's last order, burn the rest. Cadet Tamaka pours gasoline. The Merlin, already dead, ignites with a sigh. Flames lick the bubble canopy. The pin-up Evelina melts, cigarette drooping. Tanaka salutes, tears cutting soot on his cheeks. The truck rolls south under a white flag. At a checkpoint, American MPs stop them. Genda speaks perfect English, learned at Harvard 1933. Scientific delegation. The MPs wave them through. In Nagoya, Horikoshi waits in a shattered hangar. He unrolls the blueprints on a crate. The supercharger drawing alone fills a wall. He traces the impeller curve, eyes wet. This is 20 years ahead. We start from zero again. Post-war, the secrets scatter. Nakajima joins Kawasaki Heavy Industries, designs the P-2J turboprop. Merlin DNA in its veins. Itokawa founds Japan's space program. The copper rocket's turbopump owes the Mustang supercharger. Tanaka, now an engineer, builds the YS-11 airliner. Its wing loading echoes the P-51. In 1952, a USF pilot visits Tokyo, sees a Japanese mechanic torque a bolt to 25 foot-pounds. Where'd you learn that? The mechanic smiles. From a ghost. The climb rate, 4,000 feet per minute, becomes legend. In 1960, a Mitsubishi test pilot in the T2 trainer hits 3,800 FPM, grins, Evelina smiles. In every Japanese cockpit, a ghost rides shotgun. The Mustang that taught an empire humility, then gifted it rebirth. The war is over, but the sky remembers. September 1945, Yokosuka Naval Base, Occupation Dawn. American boots echo on concrete still warm from Japanese fires. Evelina is gone, reduced to slag in memory, but her data sleeps in rice paper folders, locked in a Mitsubishi safe marked Project 17. The safe survives because a night watchman, Old Man Sato, hides it under floorboards when MPs kick down doors. Inside, 42 pages of climb curves, 18 supercharger schematics, one blood-stained fragment of self-sealing bladder. Sato dies in 1951. His daughter, Keiko, inherits the key. She is 22, speaks English from missionary school, and understands the weight of ghosts. Keiko works as a typist for SCAP, the Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers. Her desk sits in the old Nakajima office, now stacked with demobilization forms. Every night, she transcribes Japanese into English, but her real job begins at 2 a.m. She photographs the Project 17 pages with the Minox camera smuggled in a sanitary napkin case. The film goes to a courier, a former Ki-43 pilot turned black market rice dealer. Destination: Dr. Jiro Horikoshi, living quietly in a Nagoya suburb, raising chickens to avoid war crimes lists. Horikoshi pores over the photos by candlelight. The Merlin 2-stage supercharger is a cathedral of gears. Low blower for takeoff, high blower for altitude, clutch shifting at 0.2-second precision. He sketches a Japanese copy, H45 core, Mitsubishi casing, aluminum instead of magnesium. Horsepower target, 1600. Weight, 1,400 pounds. He names it HA211. On the margin, he writes, Evelina's heart, born again. Korean War erupts. American B-29. September 1945. Yokosuka Naval Base. Occupation dawn. American boots echo on concrete, still warm from Japanese fires. Evelina is gone, reduced to slag and memory, but her data sleeps in rice paper folders, locked in a Mitsubishi safe marked Project 17. The safe survives because a night watchman, Old Man Sato, hides it under floorboards when MPs kick down doors. Inside, 42 pages of climb curves, 18 supercharger schematics, one blood-stained fragment of self-sealing bladder. Sato dies in 1951. His daughter, Keiko, inherits the key. She is 22, speaks English from missionary school, and understands the weight of ghosts. Keiko works as a typist for SCAP, the Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers. Her desk sits in the old Nakajima office, now stacked with demobilization forms. Every night she transcribes Japanese into English, but her real job begins at 2 a.m. She photographs the Project 17 pages with a Minox camera smuggled in a sanitary napkin case. The film goes to a courier, a former Ki-43 pilot turned black market rice dealer. Destination: Dr. Jiro Horikoshi, living quietly in a Nagawa suburb, raising chickens to avoid war crimes lists. Horikoshi pores over the photos by candlelight. The Merlin two-stage supercharger is a cathedral of gears. Low blower for takeoff, high blower for altitude. Clutch shifting at 0.2-second precision. He sketches a Japanese copy. Ha-45 core, Mitsubishi casing, aluminum instead of magnesium. Horsepower target, 1600. Weight, 1400 pounds. He names it Ha-211. On the margin, he writes, Evelina's heart, born again. Korean War erupts. American B-29s need escorts. Japan needs dollars. The occupation lifts the aircraft ban. Horikoshi is summoned to a Tokyo hotel suite. Across the table, Colonel Donald L. Putt, USF, and a North American aviation vice president, Dutch Kindleberger's son. They want jet trainers. Horikoshi wants the Ha-211 funded. A deal. Japan builds the T-33 under license. In return, Kawasaki gets Merlin blueprints officially. Unofficially, Project 17 data flows both ways. Putt sees the climb graphs, whistles. You boys reverse engineered a Mustang in a chicken coop? Komaki Airfield. The first Ha-211 roars on a test stand. 1580 HP at 3000 RPM, 61-inch HG manifold pressure. Vibration under 0.3 millimeters. Technicians cheer. Horikoshi weeps silently. The engine mates to a new airframe, the NAMC YS-11 turboprop prototype. But first, a piston testbed, the KAL-2. It is a Mustang in disguise. Laminar wing, bubble canopy, 6.5 cal stubs for ballast. First flight, October 3rd. Pilot, Saburo Tanaka, now 27, mustache thin, eyes old. Takeoff run, 1,200 feet. Initial climb, 3,950 feet per minute at 160 knots. Tanaka radios, voice cracking. Evelina is back. He levels at 25,000 feet, cruises 380 miles per hour on 70 gallons per hour. The tower times a zoom from 10,000 feet to 20,000 feet. 2 minutes, 48 seconds. A USF observer, Captain Chuck Yeager on exchange, signs the log. Damn close to a P-51H. Tanaka lands, kisses the propeller blade. The KAL-2 is painted silver. No markings. The press is told it is a mail plane. The KAL-2 tours Japan under the name Peace Eagle. Crowds of 50,000 watch it climb vertically until it is a speck. Children wave paper Mustangs. In Kokura, a former Zero ace, now a taxi driver, stands transfixed. I fought that climb, he tells his son. Now we own it. Behind the scenes, the Self-Defense Force is born. The KAL-2 becomes the basis for the Fuji T-1 trainer, 1,200 HP Ha-211, 3,600 FPM twin-engine climb. Pilots call it Baby Evelina. Tanaka, now chief test pilot, flies the T-1 in a red air exercise against JSADF 86 Sabres. Scenario: intercept high-altitude recon. The T-1 starts at 5,000 feet, the Sabres at 30,000 feet. Tanaka firewalls the throttle, pulls 60 degrees nose up. The Sabres dive to meet him at crossover. The T-1 is still climbing through 28,000 feet at 3,200 FPM. The Sabre leader aborts, laughing over radio, "You win the vertical, we win the horizontal." Tanaka lands, files a report. Climb is still king. The Ha-211 evolves into the Ha-30 turboprop for the YS-11 airliner. 60 passengers, 1,800 SHP per side, 3,800 FPM twin-engine climb. All Nippon Airways Flight 101, Tokyo to Osaka, February 1st, 1965. Captain Tanaka at the controls. At rotation, the YS-11 leaps skyward. A passenger, an elderly American missionary, grips the armrest. "This climbs like my old Mustang in China," he mutters. Tanaka overhears, smiles, says nothing. The last Ha-211 is retired from a weather recon squadron. Total built, 312. Total flight hours, 1.2 million. 0 catastrophic failures. The engine is pickled, sent to the Gifu Air Base Museum. Beside it, a single P-51 propeller blade, scorched, labeled Evelina, 1945. A plaque reads, "She taught us to reach higher." Tanaka, gray, lectures at Tokyo University. Slide 1, P-51 climb graph, 4,000 FPM. Slide 2, YS-11 graph, 3,800 FPM combined. The difference is 200 feet per minute, but the distance is a generation. Students applaud. One asks, "Did we copy the Americans?" Tanaka shakes his head. "We learned from a captured dream. Then we flew it ourselves." Keiko Sato, now 72, visits the museum. She donated the Project 17 photos anonymously in 1955. She stands before the Ha-211, touches the supercharger housing. A tour guide recites, "This engine powered Japan's first post-war aircraft." Keiko whispers to the metal, "You started in a rice paddy. Welcome home." The 60th anniversary of war's end. A restored P-51D flies over Tokyo in formation with a YS-11. The Mustang, polished aluminum, Evelina nose art redone by a Disney animator. The YS-11, all Nippon livery. They climb together from Chitose Air Base. At 10,000 feet, the Mustang pulls ahead, 4,050 FPM. The YS-11 holds 3,820 FPM. The Mustang pilot, an American woman, keys the mic. "Nice try, Japan." The YS-11 captain, Tanaka's son, replies, "We'll get you next life." The crowd below, 50,000 strong, watches two silver birds dance. No one cheers louder than the old men in wheelchairs, former aces, wet eyes. They remember the day a captured Mustang shattered their sky, then handed them the pieces to build a new one. The climb rate, 4,000 feet per minute, lives on, not in steel but in memory. From a muddy paddy in China to the jet streams over Hokkaido, Evelina's ghost still climbs, whispering to every pilot, "Altitude is forgiveness, speed is mercy." The sky over Gifu Air Base is a flawless blue, the kind that makes old pilots weep. A single P-51D, serial 44-73254, restored to Evelina's wartime colors, taxis to the hold short line. Paint fresh, pin-up winking, 6.50 cal barrels capped in red. Beside it, a Kawasaki P-3C Orion, maritime patrol beast. Its 4 Allison T-56 turboprops idling like distant thunder. The P-51 pilot, 38-year-old Air Self-Defense Force Major Aiko Tanaka, Saburo's granddaughter, raises a gloved hand. The Orion pilot, Captain Kenji Sato, Keiko's grandson, returns the salute. Today is not war. Today is inheritance. The mission? A heritage flight to mark 70 years since surrender. Route? Gifu to Chitose. 600 miles, formation all the way. The P-51 carries 150 gallons internal. The P-3C sips from 10,000. Climb profile? Mustang leads to 12,000 feet. Orion joins at 200 knots, then both step climb in 2,000-foot blocks. Ground control clears them. Evelina and Ghost 01, runway 28, wind calm. Aiko advances the throttle. The Merlin snarls. 1,490 HP, same as 1945. Rotation at 105 knots. Gear up. Initial climb, 3,980 feet per minute. The needle kisses 4,000 before she levels the nose. In the Orion, Sato watches the Mustang shrink ahead, then hauls his yoke. The P-3C climbs at 2,800 FPM, respectable for 130,000 pounds, but the gap widens. Sato smiles. Still the queen. Over the inland sea, they rendezvous. The P-51 slides under the Orion's wing, 50 feet separation. Aiko keys the mic. Ghost 01, Evelina in position. Your 6 is clear. Sato laughs. Copy, Evelina. My 4 engines can't catch your 1. They hold formation for an hour, the Mustang's silver belly reflecting in the Orion's cockpit glass. Below, fishing boats scatter like rice grains. Aiko thinks of her grandfather's logbook, now in the family shrine. Climb is legacy. She banks gently. The Orion follows, contrails braiding into a double helix. At Chitose, the crowd is 80,000, veterans in wheelchairs, school children with paper planes, JASDF cadets in crisp blues. The pair descends in a spiral, Mustang leading, Orion lumbering behind. Touchdown. P-51 at 90 knots, 3-point, prop ticking down. Orion at 120, reverse thrust howling. They park nose to nose. Aiko pops the canopy. Sato descends the crew ladder. They meet on the tarmac, salute, then embrace. 2 bloodlines forged in the same fire. The ceremony begins. A Shinto priest blesses both aircraft with sake and salt. Aiko speaks first. This Mustang fell in China. It taught our enemies respect, then taught us rebirth. Its climb rate, 4,000 feet per minute, lives in every Japanese wing. Sato adds, the P-3C climbs slower, but it watches the seas so no war comes again. Evelina's ghost guards us still. A 100-year-old veteran, former K-84 pilot, is wheeled forward. He touches the Mustang's propeller, whispers, "You took my friends. Now I salute you." Tears fall on aluminum. That night, in the Gifu Museum, the Ha-211 engine is unveiled under spotlights. Beside it, the original Project 17 folder, declassified at last. Keiko Sato, 92, frail but upright, cuts the ribbon. She donated the Minox negatives in 2010. Aiko reads the plaque. From a captured dream to a nation's sky, Evelina, 1945, forever. Flashbulbs pop. Keiko leans to Aiko. Your great-grandfather flew her. My grandmother saved her. Now, you own her. Aiko bows deep. November 11th, the 80th anniversary. Aiko, now Lieutenant Colonel, commands the JASDF Flight Test Wing at Gifu. Her office wall, a framed photo of the 2015 formation. On her desk, a single Merlin spark plug, serial matched to Evelina's engine, recovered from Matsudo in 1998. She flies the restored P-51D twice a year, always on August 15th and November 11th. Today, she taxis out at dawn. The Merlin coughs, catches, roars. Ground crew, all women, all under 30. One salutes. Climb high, ma'am. Aiko grins. 4,000 feet per minute or bust. Takeoff. Full military power. 61 inches manifold, water methanol screaming. The Mustang leaps. Variometer pegs 4,020 FPM, better than 1945 thanks to modern 115-145 avgas. At 10,000 feet, she rolls inverted, dives to 400 knots, pulls 5G into a loop. The airframe sings, no flutter. She levels at 25,000, cruises south towards Tokyo. Below, the city glitters. Skyscrapers where bombs once fell. She banks over the Imperial Palace, dips a wing. Radio silence. No need for words. At Komaki, Nagoya, the YS-11 successor, the Kawasaki C2 transport waits. 120 tons. 2 IHI F7 turbofans, 45,000 pounds thrust each. Climb, 3,500 FPM loaded. Aiko lands the Mustang beside it. The C2 crew, 12 strong, forms up. Their captain, Kenji Sato Jr. They salute the P-51. Aiko returns it. Your grandfather flew with mine. Now we fly for peace. The C2 pilot nods. Evelina taught us altitude. We teach the world supply lines. Together, they push the Mustang into the Kawasaki hangar, its new home beside the C2 assembly line. The final flight. Aiko and Sato Jr. in the C2, the P-51 towed behind on a trailer. Destination? The Tokyo Air and Space Museum. Opening 2026. The convoy rolls at dusk, headlights cutting the night. Along the highway, people stop, bow. Children wave glow sticks. At the museum site, a pedestal waits. Concrete, 12 feet high. Engraved, Evelina, 4,000 feet per minute, 1945 to eternity. The Mustang is lifted by crane, bolted down, canopy open forever. Aiko places the spark plug in the cockpit. Sato Jr. hangs the Project 17 folder in a glass case. They step back. Midnight. The museum lights dim. Only the Mustang glows under a single spotlight. Aiko whispers to the airframe. You started in mud. You end in marble. Climb proud. Somewhere, a Merlin idles in a dream. Saburo Tanaka, Jiro Horikoshi, Keiko Sato, all young again, strapped in, pulling back on the stick. The variometer spins. 4,000, 5,000, infinity. The empire fell. The lesson rose. One aircraft, one climb rate, one unbroken line from 1945 to 2025 and beyond. Every JASDF pilot, every Kawasaki engineer, every child who looks up, carries Evelina in their blood. The ghost is home. The Tokyo Air and Space Museum opens its doors on August 15, 2026, 81 years to the day Hirohito's voice crackled surrender across a broken nation. Dawn light strikes the glass facade, fractures into 1,000 silver shards, and lands on Evelina's wings. She sits eternal on her pedestal. Bubble canopy thrown back, Merlin cowl polished to a mirror. Below her, a bronze plaque in Japanese, English, and Mandarin. 4,000 feet per minute. From enemy prize to shared sky. 1945 to infinity. No ropes. Visitors may touch. Children climb the steps. Press palms to warm aluminum. Feel the ghost of 1,490 horses. Inside the hall, the lineage is a straight line. 1945. Strawbridge's belly-landed wreck in a Chinese paddy. 1952. KAL-2 Silver Ghost over Komaki. 1965. YS-11 twin turboprops hauling salarymen. 2026. Kawasaki C2 heavy lifter parked outside, ramped down, delivering rice to disaster zones. Each aircraft represented by a single artifact, a cracked cylinder head, a faded logbook, a warm throttle knob, a modern fly-by-wire side stick, all connected by one red thread, climb rate, painted on the floor in ascending arrows. 3,475 to 3,950 to 3,800 to 3,500 FPM loaded. Aiko Tanaka, 49, silver streaking her hair, stands in dress blues beside the C2. She is now museum director, retired from flying. Kenji Sato Jr., 46, commands the 403rd Tactical Airlift Squadron. They unveil the final exhibit together, a holographic cockpit. Visitors sit in a mock P-51 seat, the canopy closes, the variometer spins. A voice, Saburo Tanaka's, recorded 1978, whispers, "Full power, 61 inches. Watch the sky fall away." The hollow climb hits 4,000 FPM and Tokyo shrinks beneath. Then the image morphs. YS-11, C-2, future hypersonic transport, each inheriting the same vertical hunger. Children gasp, veterans salute. Outside, the real C-2 idles. Its mission today, fly 200 school kids from Okinawa to Tokyo on a peace scholarship. Ramp lowers, Aiko boards last. Genji Sato Jr. at controls. Takeoff run, 3,800 feet. Climb, 3,200 FPM with 40 tons aboard. Aiko looks out the cockpit window, sees the museum roof glinting. Evelina, a silver dot. She keys the PA. "We are climbing on the same wind that carried a captured Mustang 81 years ago. Hold tight." En route, the kids sing the JASDF anthem. An 11-year-old girl, descendant of a Zero mechanic, asks Aiko, "Ma'am, will we ever build something that climbs faster than Evelina?" Aiko smiles. Every generation tries. The number changes, the spirit doesn't. Landing at Haneda, the C-2 reverses thrust. The Mustang is visible across the bay, a speck on its pedestal. Sato Jr. taxis past the terminal, salutes the tower. Ground crew, mixed Japanese, American, and Chinese, wave both flags. One holds a sign, climb rate, peace. Evening, closing ceremony. Aiko and Sato Jr. stand beneath Evelina, a single spotlight. They read names, Strawbridge, Koroe, Saki, Iwamoto, Nishizawa, Horikoshi, Keiko, Saburo, etched on a steel ribbon that spirals the pedestal like a DNA strand. Silence. Then Aiko speaks the last line of the script, voice soft, carried on museum speakers to 10,000 visitors. She fell in war. She rose in peace. 4,000 feet per minute was never about altitude. It was about reaching, past hate, past defeat, past borders. The climb continues. In every cockpit, in every child who looks up, Evelina still pulls the stick. The lights dim. The Merlin cowl reflects the faces below. Old soldiers, young cadets, tourists from every nation. A final hologram flickers above the crowd. The P-51 in 1945 formation with the C-2 of 2026, both climbing into a star field. The variometer freezes at 4,000 FPM. Fade to black. Outside, Tokyo's night sky is clear. Somewhere above 30,000 feet, a JASDF F-35 streaks north on patrol, afterburner glowing. Its pilot, call sign Ghost 02, checks altitude, 4,000 feet per minute in full stealth climb. She smiles, whispers to the empty cockpit, "Still got it, Grandma." The empire is dust. The lesson is light. One aircraft, one metric, one unbroken ascent from 1945 to the edge of space. Evelina's ghost does not haunt. She soars.